1 sec here. There we go. The Hero's Journey for Writers, class 3 out of 5. And there is 1 bonus coming. Oh, so glad to be with you all. And let's get going with our slides. So tonight we're talking about procrastination. Can anybody relate to that?
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, all right. Because you know what? And that's why I built this. Tapping is phenomenal for breaking through procrastination. So copyright, here's our agenda for tonight, our overview. As always, we're going to start with our accountability and celebrations. We'll move into the voice of procrastination. You'll have a chance with your Writing Hero Love Support Seat. And I've got the list of people to read towards the bottom. We'll do some tapping for transformation of the procrastinator. I want you to get a sense of the freedom you can build or you can have access to. Okay, so for the next time a deadline pops up, check out the roadmap status. We are going to take a look at that and see where you are, and then your next inspired actions as always. Our goal is to get you some confidence, recognize and knowing the truth of who you are at a soul level, embodying the courage for your inspired actions, which is primarily writing, but also other facets of your life. And then embrace your competencies and capacities to create success. So the question with this is, how many of you are giving yourself more credit for the competencies and capacities that you really do have to create success? Lauren says yes. Yeah, right. And by turning down the inner critic in week 1 and the judge week 2, hopefully you're getting a better sense of that. Okay, so let's check on your goals. You are held in a sacred circle. Everybody take a big breath. And let's create our circle, soul to soul, mind to mind, heart to heart. Letting go of the day, everything that happened before, and breathe. And letting go of what's to come and just being in this moment, settling into our bodies. And as always, we will celebrate. Let's talk about your challenges and any insights or shifts you're having. So, who would like to start first? We do not have to go in order on this.
I can go.
Okay, great.
I met my goals this week. I wrote for 30 minutes 2 times a week and even a little bit more. It was hard to get into the flow if I found time. While my kids were playing, I felt pressure to like what to write, and I just started to write. And once I did that, I felt like I could, it made me write some ideas for blog posts. So just writing in general, I did pretty good this week.
Woohoo! Great. Yeah, and so your challenge was not finding the writing flow, but you just got into it, and then did you catch it?
Yes. And then once writing a little bit more gave me more ideas, and I was able to do a little bit more, which helped me go over the 30 minutes sometimes, finding the time. So it worked out.
Excellent. You did not let it stop you. That's beautiful. Right.
I didn't get discouraged. I tried to push listen to the judge, but kept going.
Woohoo! Now that's progress, right?
Yes.
Awesome. 2 thumbs up.
Thank you.
Okay. Who else?
I'll go.
Okay. Thanks, Chrissy.
Yeah, I got a lot of editing done. I'm still working on the same scene, but I'm taking my time with it because what happens in it kind of directs where it goes from here for the rest of the story. But yeah, I got a lot done. I feel like I have to trick myself a lot of times. Like if I go and set up a time to write, like I'll tap and then it's like, oh, I have to, it's hard to jump right into it. But if I just come over to my computer during the day when I have like a couple of minutes and I'm like, I'll just edit what I wrote yesterday. And then all of a sudden it just start. So like, I can't like plan it. I just have to go and do it.
Okay, so that's a really super, first of all, celebrations, right? Okay. And then really good insight into your process. Honor your process. Each of you is different. Each of you works different. Your brains are different. Your styles are different, and that's okay. Find what works. So that's a nice way to ease into it. And if it feels a little sneaky, that's okay, right?
Yeah.
Be a little sneaky with yourself. Can I tell you, I make a vegetable soup, and I don't like vegetables, but I can end up putting in there, you know, it's a tomato base with like sweet potatoes and corn, which all had kind of high sugars and stuff. But then I could put in frozen beans and cauliflower. I don't eat that stuff usually, right? And then I put in like kidney beans and I throw even more stuff in there. And even though I'm the one cooking it and I'm the one making it, at the end, I stick it in the blender and I blend the heck out of it. So it's just one solid orange color and I eat it.
Oh, wow.
And it's so bizarre because if you stuck beans on a plate or cauliflower on a plate, I would not eat them. So it is tricking my brain.
Yeah.
You're doing it. That's a beautiful, I love that example. So glad that you're finding your way through your process. So keep
Thank you.
doing it. Rinse and repeat. When you find something that works, rinse and repeat unless you find you need to change it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, great. Who's next? Go ahead, Don. Thank you.
I have been doing a bunch of editing. I'm sorry. I just like managed to minimize my screen, so sorry. That's weird. I've been doing a bunch of editing, and that's basically all I've been doing, just doing maybe like 5 minutes of writing a day. But I've managed to, off of the story that I wrote, I managed to edit 45 pages from it, which to me is terrifying. 45 pages in 1 week, because I'm trying to get it down to 85,000 words.
Wow.
So yeah, bye, 45 pages.
That's huge. That's enormous, huh?
Yeah, I took out like that wasn't like piecemeal though. I took an entire like subplot out of it. So that was just a big cut the entire section out. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm trying to work on bringing down some of the dialogue, some of the characters who repeat themselves a bunch and kind of make each word pack a punch as opposed to a bunch of random gibberish. So that's where I am right now.
Awesome. That's a celebration. Packing a punch. Each word counts. Getting the superfluous out of there, right?
Yep, and there was plenty of it, so.
Okay, how does it feel to cut like that?
I think it's important with what you said last week about how you save different versions of it.
Yep.
Because it's not gone. I still have it. This is what I want to publish at some point. So if somebody messages me at some point in the future, one of my fans or whatever, it's ridiculous to even think of that, but like, and is like, I love this character, blah, 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 I wonder what happened during this. I can think to myself like, well, I know what happened because I have the entire scene, but that you don't get to see it. That's, it's an outtake. So yeah.
Okay, so you were pretty okay with it because you had that reassurance of.
Absolutely, because I know that it still exists in its full form someplace else, and I still know what happened. I just don't need to share that with the readers because it feels like a lot of the stories personal to me, and there were certain things that I found that I was like, that feels like an overshare and it's not really necessary. And getting it more concise and more, cutting up the food to feed it to your little one. I mean, I kind of feel like that's what I'm doing at this point. So.
Okay, you are thinking like a writer. I love it. That's really great. So celebration time.
Yay.
Yeah.
And
Good.
I love it when authors share deleted scenes. It happens a lot in the romance area, and it's awesome. I love to see after I read a book like, oh, so that's what she was thinking, and it's exciting.
Yeah. And you never know if some of that could end up being, you said it's a subplot, maybe it could be a spin-off sequel or something, you know, it could be a prequel, whatever. So yeah, save your work and have it. You don't know when it might crop up again. Thank you. And that's a good point too, Chrissy. So yeah, think about movies, you know, like the Lord of the Rings and then the different DVD versions. And then it's like the director's cut with bonus scenes, right? That's what you're talking about. So that's really cool. Okay, and Nick.
Okay, well, I finished writing chapter 4.
Woohoo! Celebration time!
It was very exciting because earlier while writing this, I was stuck with some writer's block and decided to jump ahead to a later point in the story and write a section there. And I wrote several chapters earlier, and now after finishing chapter 4, I can finally connect these two parts. Yeah. And now I've got a lot written. And I think I'm close to the halfway point, if not there already. Which is
woohoo!
Very exciting for me.
Awesome.
That's great. Okay, celebrations for Nick. Wow. So that's solid progress. And I love that you didn't stay stuck. You got yourself unstuck by jumping ahead. Dynamite.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot too, and it helps bring back the flow. If some other scene is jumping in your head, go ahead and write it down if you're stuck on where you are, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, sometimes it's easier to write backwards because you know what's going to happen. So then you kind of can go back and then write up to the other scene. So it's another way to trick your mind.
Just gotta make sure the section, flows and stays connected.
Yeah.
Check it over, make sure there's no inconsistencies.
Right. So you need that continuity, and that is something that you can always check later.
Yeah.
And that's where, again, reading it out loud or having other readers read it, having other authors read it, using your group. So having writing buddies, all of that's important.
Yep.
It's cool. All right. Good job, everyone. How does it feel to you guys? You don't need my approval. How are you feeling about yourselves?
Good.
Great.
Yeah.
Very good.
That's what this is all about. Cool. Okay. And so again, if you were to get stuck, just pay attention to those emotions, the voice in your head, the sensations in the body, and then do something to get out of it, right? All right. And by do something, primarily I mean tapping, but it could also be taking a walk. It could be laying on a blanket and snoozing or just resting or reading a book. I've been doing that a lot lately in the afternoon when it's hot. And even if it's 15 or 20 minutes, and plus lying on a blanket on the ground, it's grounding the energy. It's getting out of the spinning head and literally grounding because I'm on the ground. It's so healthy. And we can't do it for like 9 months of the year. You're not going to go out there in your snowsuit, right? So, so I do recommend that. Spend, time in nature. If you can read a book or write a book, if you can write while you're in a hammock or something, go for it. So, okay. So let's talk about procrastination. So what's the primary reason that people procrastinate? And as you can see here, the slide kind of gives it away. How's about fear of failure? Does that resonate with anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right? You set a goal, you have a plan. Most of the time, do you know what actions to take? Yes?
Yes.
Maybe? Yeah, yes. But then it's not even starting it or starting and then just stalling out and then finding everything under the sun, including lying on a blanket and reading a book instead of writing. So that could go both ways. But it's fear of failure, of it not being good enough. The other thing, this is where you can use your reflection pages and journal, right? So explore this and inquire, you're going to want to go back in time and find those situations when there might have been a failure, or if you had like overbearing parents who expected like the highest performance and then you didn't measure up. It's that feeling of not measuring up, right? Okay, there can also be fear of success, because it's like, Dawn, you even said earlier, it's like, oh, if people were asking me about the subplot, oh, that's ridiculous. But you're excited about it too.
It's cool to think about, but at the same time, like, you don't want to like get yourself jazzed up, because it's like putting the cart before the horse, in my opinion. Let's get the work done before we put ourselves there. It's nice to think about it, but I want to have this cohesive story done before I start thinking about getting a fan club. Come on, fans.
There you go. But yeah, you know what? A little bit, and I think there's a balance to that. Okay, I think if you go too far into the just focusing all on, you know, dreaming about it but not doing the work, you are doing a disservice, because then you're never going to create it. If you just go whole hog and it's all creation without any anticipation is a better word, any anticipation or enthusiasm, any imagination, and I like the word envisioning, right? If you do this, what happens then when you achieve the book and it's all done, you get to that point and it's like, all right, it's done, now what? And it goes boom and you fall flat. So think about a little bit of a balancing act, because as you're working on the book, hold that vision of the fan club, work on the book, and then hold, you know, receive the positive feedback from other people, writing buddies and writing groups, okay? So, and then in that case, let it be a flow, let it be an infinity, let it be that dance between both. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So try not to get pegged on a seesaw one way or the other, but use that dance. Awesome. From a law of attraction standpoint, that's where this imagination comes in, and then you can manifest the fan club.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other aspect to the fear of success is there are impacts to us, both internal and external. So when you think of publishing your book, what are some of the external expectations that you have? Or even the external, you know, the dreams, the desires, the imagination. What are you envisioning with success? Fan club is one.
I think like if you're talking like extreme, like I think we're all totally guilty of thinking about the things that we write and being like, wouldn't this be a fantastic Netflix series? I mean,
Yeah.
that's human. I mean,
I've always got the movie playing in my mind.
yes, yes.
Me too. What actors are you gonna
Yep.
pick for the roles? And
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, you think like things like I saw like an actor and I was like, wow, that's how I picture one of my characters looking. And then I was like, why am I even thinking like that? Like, I like literally if somebody came to me and was like, we want to make a series of a novel you wrote, I'd be like, I don't care if my sexy leading man is the guy that does the Affleck duck. Like, I don't even care. Just come here, success. I'm ready for you.
Okay, so come here, success, I'm ready for you. And yet you've got that voice that says, why am I even thinking of that?
I mean, it's fun to daydream about that stuff, though.
Right, but
It's human.
Of course it is. Of course it is, right. Yeah, anybody else for the external impacts of what you envision?
oh yeah, so far mine is getting pretty steamy. And I think to myself, oh my, like, but it's kind of just coming to me naturally. So I'm like, but I've never written this stuff before. So at the same time, I'm kind of surprising myself. And then I'm like, oh my God, like, I can't even, like, in a way, like, I can't even imagine, like, reading this to you guys. And like, oh my God, because this is really, you know, But at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, wouldn't that be awesome if people are like, this guy is my book boyfriend, and that would be pretty awesome.
I mean, you have to think at some point Stephanie Meyer was literally sitting there going like, oh, imagine if this ever became a movie. And it is. I mean, the 50 Shades of Grey movies, I mean, it all started somewhere.
Yep,
Stephanie Meyer can do what anyone can.
that's right. And the 50 Shades was actually fan fiction for Twilight, which is amazing to think about that because the two have nothing to do with each other. But she was inspired by Stephanie Meyer, and she was like, oh, I love this alpha guy type, and she wrote her own. And
Yeah.
Yeah, but so here's the thing with that, Chrissy, too, is there a voice that's like, oh my God, I can't say that. Oh my God, I'll shock people.
Yeah.
What, and it doesn't it come under what will people think?
Yep.
And Nick said, yeah.
I get that too. My story takes dark stuff happens in it. Is parts of like, will this offend somebody? Am I going too far? Should I change it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So too far, will I offend somebody? What will people think? Right?
Yep.
That's the judge in action. That's the judge's voice. Can you recognize that now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So the other thing about external success, think in terms of money. Nobody's even mentioned money. Fame is fame is the fan club. Fame is the movie. Even more concretely, somebody comes to you and they want to publish your book, but they want the movie. They would be flying you in a jet to Hollywood, to LA for the movie, right? They would be flying you to New York for books, for brick and mortar, right? They would be wining and dining you. You would be dressed to the nines. You'd probably go and coif your hair and get your nails done if that fits.
Yep.
Right? So, and then what's the negative voice to that? See, now we're doing some of the internal as well. Go ahead, Dawn.
My thing would be, this is so awful, but my thing would be I write this really great story that I think is really great, and then Stephen King reads it and he's like, this is garbage.
Oh.
And he's like, this is the worst thing I've ever written, and I don't even know why anybody published this woman. And to poor Stephanie Meyer here, he did that to Stephanie Meyer. And I'm over here going yes, Stephen King, I love you even more. But I mean, to me, that would be soul crushing.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Just to let you know, I did get a text reply from Maria. She will not be joining us tonight. So Maria, we're holding space for you, and you will get the replay next week. All right. Let me just. Okay, so yeah, good point. It's the reviews. Somebody, Stephen King's got credibility, subject matter expert, right? And then he writes a review or he makes a comment and he trashes the author. That's tough to take. So this is part of the downside, if you will, about success. And it's causing the internal angst, the internal emotions, the hurt, the sadness. It may even trigger old wounds and old traumas.
Yeah.
And guess what, folks? It's a fear, so it's not even real. Okay, so this is where you want support, you want a coach, you want the tapping, because you want to break through the stress of, if you've got any of those feelings, emotions, or sensations in the body, if the anxiety starts creeping up, even just talking about this, about who do I think I am, it'll never be good enough, I'll get a bad review, or if it's, being on the Today Show, making the Good Morning America, making the rounds at the talk shows, being interviewed, being in print, going for photo shoots, right? Just tap in for that, because that's part of the good things of success, but you need to step up into that. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So fear of success can be another trigger to actually procrastinate and not finish the book, or not get published, or not make the videos, or not show up on television, whatever that looks like. So procrastination, and think about it this way, it's a protective mechanism, even though it is not supporting your adult goals. It's a protective mechanism left over from childhood. Okay, so then, there are some associated conditions or causes, links. Procrastination's linked to depression, or it's irrational because, it's all illusionary, right? Or illusory. Low self-esteem. Do you think if a person is low self-esteem, they're going to procrastinate more? Probably, because they haven't had that experience of building their confidence up by actually taking the action. Anytime you take an action, you can expand yourself. If it's a success, you get the boost immediately. Even if it's a failure, it depends on how you view failure. Because is it failure and it drags you down, or is it failure and it's a lesson learned, don't do that again? Now I know what not to do, right? Okay. Anxiety, we talked a little bit about, and then, neurological disorders, ADHD. People with ADHD tend to have organizational skill difficulties or challenges, but there's ways to work with that, and I'm going to cover those, so that you can get past it and you don't have to use procrastination as a crutch. It does not have to stop you in your tracks and, block you from the writing success that you are desiring. Okay. Sometimes people equate procrastination with guilt and stress. You know what? Stress is in everything, so you're going to tap the stress down so that you can take those actions. Disrespect. Are you disrespecting yourself if you're procrastinating? That's how you can break through and then build your motivation. Also, it's a way of disrespecting others. If you commit to delivering a story or a chapter, or working with an editor, or working with a publisher, whatever it is, and then you're procrastinating and not meeting your deadlines, that is some disrespect to the other person, yes?
Yes.
So figure out and, hold yourself accountable so that that's not there. If you think you're incompetent and you can't do it, then that ties in with procrastination. But a lot of that is those subconscious blocks, and you can tap through that. You're already discovering. That's why I asked you the question earlier. Are you feeling more confident? Are you appreciating your capacities? And have you been growing your capacities? Right? The more you feel into that, but the more you embody those energies with the writing flow, the less need you have for procrastination. Okay. Some people judge themselves as lazy. They'll slap that lazy label on. No, you need compassion. You need to hold yourself gently. You need loving support to work through procrastination. Okay. Let the judge take lazy and just ignore it or make friends with it. Explore it, journal it. Good? I said a lot. All right. So again, we've talked about the influences. You are programmed in ways of being acceptable. And in this case, again, it could be that overbearing parents or authority figures. It could be, first in class, getting the good grades. Being on a sports team, this doesn't happen quite as much these days where everybody gets a trophy. But, a little while ago, like if you didn't come in first, you didn't get a trophy, right? So, and there's the do you want others to think you're stupid? The judge comes in there, even though we're talking about procrastination. Sometimes these voices have allies. They work together. They support each other, okay? You probably had an early life experience And whether you were 2 or 3 or 4 years old, and the expectation was up here for your performance, and you're a little kid, and somehow you did it this way. And so the internal subconscious file becomes, I will never make that mistake again. I will never do that. And then you struggle with procrastination because of it. All right. Again, we're talking tribal norms and people like us. That carries through all these voices. We kind of talked about that. And for the limits, this is a case with the procrastination. Go big, go home, or go home, right? 100%. Or were you actually punished if it was not the straight A report card? Was there ridicule if you got an A- or a B+ or lower, right? If you didn't tie your shoe right. I still remember being 3 years old, learning how to tie my shoe on that Fisher-Price old lady in the shoe, and it was a plastic thing with laces, and that's how I learned it. I practice and practice and practice, and it's like, if you're ridiculed for that, for not doing it right, you know, that can leave a mark. So, all right. So let's see how we're doing on time. 7:30, we got some time. All right, so let's do some tapping. You know, it's really basic. Do your suds, okay? Take your suds, I should say that, of 0 to 10. So what's the emotions? When you think about procrastinations, what are some of the emotions that come up? Fear, we said fear. What else?
I'm thinking of overwhelming, but not an emotion, but maybe like suffocation by being so overwhelmed with the success that you can have and not knowing what to do with it.
Right, right. Yeah, the other thing with that success too, the overwhelm, what about your time? What if you get too busy? What are other people in the family going to say to you? Because all of a sudden now you're not cooking meals and you're not cleaning the house, or you're not available, right? There can be backlashes from your family systems and or environment, right? Mm-hmm. What if you're getting so busy all of a sudden you don't have time for your friends or other social activities? So any of that can be overwhelming. How's about frustration? Do you think some frustration can come in there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have any of you considered, if you got the $50,000 or the $100,000 book advance, the money part of it, how are you going to handle that? Where are you going to invest it? Who's going to come after you? How do you handle the taxes? Do I need to set up a business? Right?
Yeah.
Bring it. Oh my God, that'd be wonderful.
Yes.
All right, great. And that's the positive part of it. But does that trigger anyone else?
I'm shaking.
Yeah, okay. You're shaking. Chrissy's on her head. Nick, how
Oh, yeah.
Once you get that, now you suddenly have to supply a product. Now it's real.
Yeah.
now it's real.
Now I have to do the work.
Yeah.
Right?
Make something better than what you did before and keep like a lot of pressure. Yeah. You can put a lot of pressure.
Okay, and Lauren just was, you know, it's like, that's the first book. And now if you want to write a second book, you've got that, you know.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a one-hit wonder? It's like you are, right?
Yeah, if anything, there's more pressure on you for the second one. Like, oh, you did it, but you can't repeat it.
It's like that Game of Thrones guy. Like, he was known as a great writer, and now he's known as a great procrastinator. So, yeah. Like, I almost feel sorry for him. He's rich, but his reputation's gone.
Yeah,
He's like the biggest procrastinator.
Yeah, just write the book, buddy. It's not that hard. Just write it.
Well, it's been like 10 years.
Yeah, it has. It's been like 7 or 8 or something like that. People are waiting forever for him. They had to move ahead in the movie and the show and everything else. And
I thought for sure he was waiting for the show to end, but he still hasn't released it.
No, I mean, there's whole communities on the internet just like waiting for him to, it's terrible, but like waiting for him to pass away because they're convinced that that's going to happen before he finishes this one book he has to write. I think one, I don't know.
Okay, so let's do some tapping, and who wants to be my echo? So Lauren, you said you were shaking. Would you like to be my echo?
I'm not really shaking, but I can be your echo, yes.
Okay. All right. So let me mute everyone else. There we go. And then Lauren. Hold on a second. Okay, so then Lauren, I need you to unmute, please.
Okay.
All right, great. Beautiful. So let's start with that side of hand. And I just took a deep breath. You can take a deep breath. Okay, even though I procrastinate,
and
it does impact my goals,
it does impact my goals,
I am open to learning more about this
I am open to learning more about this
and creating new ways of being
and creating new ways of being
so that I take action more effectively.
so that I take action more effectively.
Yep. So even though I have a procrastinator, it causes me difficulty achieving my goals.
It causes me difficulty achieving my goals.
I am open to transforming that voice
I am open to transforming that voice
for greater productivity.
to greater productivity.
Good. So even though
My
my procrastinator causes difficulties, fearing success and fearing failure,
success and fearing failure,
I am open to maturing this voice
I am open to maturing this voice
to achieve my goals more effectively.
to achieve my goals more effectively.
And I accept all parts of me now.
And I accept all parts of me now.
Good. So tapping through the points. All this procrastination,
All this procrastination,
all the ways I procrastinate,
all the ways I procrastinate,
that voice can get inside of my head
that voice can get inside of my head
and stop me from writing,
and stop me from writing,
stop me from achieving my goals,
stop me from achieving my goals,
because it tells me stories
because it tells me stories
of what the future will look like,
of what the future will look like,
whether I fail
whether I fail
or whether I succeed,
or whether I succeed,
how I'll feel about it,
how I'll feel about it,
how other people will feel about me.
how other people will feel about me.
Getting those reviews from Stephen King,
Getting those reviews from Stephen King,
becoming the great procrastinator like King of Thrones,
becoming the great procrastinator like Game of Thrones.
I've seen it before.
I've seen it before.
Those one-hit wonders,
Those one-hit wonders.
there'll be even more pressure if I succeed.
There'll be even more pressure if I succeed.
And heaven knows I don't want to fail.
And heaven knows I don't want to fail.
So maybe I will procrastinate.
So maybe I will procrastinate.
I'll go clean out the closets.
I'll go clean out the closets.
I'll go organize the basement.
I'll go organize the basement.
I'll go lie on a blanket in the sun.
I'll go lie on a blanket in the sun.
I'll blame it on the kids
I'll blame it on the kids
or the hubby
or the hubby
or my work
or my work
or the virus.
or the virus.
I will find so many ways to procrastinate
I will find so many ways to procrastinate
because my procrastinator's been around a long time.
because my procrastinator's been around a long time
It has all sorts of tricks up its sleeve
and has all sorts of tricks up its sleeve
that causes me not to write.
that causes me not to write.
And I'm going to honor all the ways the procrastinator came into being.
And I'm going to honor all the ways the procrastinator came into being.
But I'm choosing to transform this voice
But I'm choosing to transform this voice
and release some of the power it has over me
and release some of the power it has over me
so that I am more mature.
so that I am more mature.
I gain more power over it.
I gain more power over it.
I achieve my goals with more ease.
I achieve my goals with more ease.
And I am more confident about my abilities.
And I am more confident about my abilities.
I have a procrastinator,
I have a procrastinator,
but I am not the procrastinator.
but I am not the procrastinator.
And that procrastinator's been operating
And that procrastinator's been operating
from a place of love,
from a place of love,
but kind of sneaky too.
but kind of sneaky too.
So it's time to change this pattern
So it's time to change this pattern
so I can get excited about success.
so I can get excited about a success.
So take a breath, shake it out. Whew. Come into your body even more. And breathe. And a third one. And what do you sense in your body? What do you notice?
I'm feeling more relaxed and more excitement as we talked about that.
Yeah. Okay. And if everybody can unmute if they'd like, did anyone feel more triggered, or is everyone feeling calmer or more relaxed?
Or relaxed.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. So if there were any thoughts in there that were sticky, if there's any emotions that cropped up, if there's anything I missed that it's like you really wanted to, when you listen to the replay, you could go back and tap through that. You could tap for a week and just keep unraveling this procrastinating voice. But otherwise, let's do some positive tapping because it sounds like you're relaxed and more excited. So Lauren, just be my echo.
Sure.
Yep. Please. And you just need to unmute. There you go, darling.
Okay.
I'm getting excited.
I'm getting excited.
I see something now.
I see something now.
The procrastinator doesn't need to be as strong as it was.
The procrastinator doesn't need to be as strong as it was.
I could get excited about the future,
I can get excited about the future,
about finishing my story,
about finishing my story,
about editing my book,
about editing my book,
about submitting it for publication,
about submitting it for publication,
seeing it come to fruition.
come to fruition. Sorry, I missed that first one.
Yeah. Seeing it come to fruition.
Seeing it come to fruition.
Yep. Or seeing it manifest.
Okay. Seeing
Yeah.
it manifest, or seeing it manifest.
That would be so cool.
That would be so cool.
It would be so exciting to be successful as a writer.
It would be so exciting to be successful as a writer.
Getting that book deal.
Getting that book deal.
Having it be made into a movie.
Having it be made into a movie.
Picking the actors.
Picking the actors.
Oh my God, seeing my imagination come to life.
Oh my God, seeing my imagination come to life.
And boy, would I love that book advance in my bank account.
And boy, would I love that book advance in my bank account.
Jetting off to New York or LA.
Jetting off to New York or LA.
All the fancy clothes and dinners.
All the fancy clothes and dinners.
Meeting celebrities.
Meeting celebrities.
And OMG,
And OMG,
I'm a celebrity.
I'm a celebrity.
I can't wait.
I can't wait.
This is exciting.
This is exciting.
And all because
And all because
I transformed my procrastinator
I transformed my procrastinator
from
from
being afraid of failure and success
being afraid of failure and success
into a voice that can be an ally.
into a voice that can be an ally.
What if I could update its job description
What if I could update its job description
so that now it works for me
so that now it works for me
and would bug me
and would bug me
if I procrastinated about not writing my book?
if I procrastinated about not writing my book?
If I procrastinated about not taking action?
If I procrastinated about not taking action?
This is a whole new way for the procrastinator to operate.
This is a whole new way for the procrastinator to operate
As it works to support me,
as it works to support me
in a conscious manner,
in a conscious manner,
in the light.
in the light,
And now it can be on my success team of voices
and now it can be on my success team of voices
instead of in the shadows.
instead of in the shadows.
So thank you, procrastinator.
So thank you, procrastinator.
You protected me and got me this far in life,
You protected me and got me this far in life,
and I honor you for what you did,
and I honor you for what you did,
but I'm offering you a new mission,
but I'm offering you a new mission,
a new job description,
a new job description,
and a chance to evolve and mature.
and a chance to evolve and mature.
And this is in alignment
And this is in alignment
with my soul's purpose as a writer,
with my soul's purpose as a writer,
with my heart's desires for success,
with my heart's desires for success,
with the way excitement feels in my body,
with the way excitement feels in my body,
and how fun it is to imagine this.
and how fun it is to imagine this.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait.
I love getting feedback from other writers.
I love getting feedback from other writers.
I'm excited to hear what those reviewers will say.
I'm excited to hear what those reviewers will say.
And this will just unfold
And this will just unfold
a day at a time,
one day at a time,
every day getting better and better,
every day getting better and better,
every day getting better and better.
every day getting better and better.
And I love my enlightened procrastinator
And I love my enlightened procrastinator
working for me every day.
working for me every day.
That gets better and better.
That gets better and better.
Thank you, procrastinator.
Thank you, procrastinator.
Take a breath and shake it out. Oh, and you can take two more and settle in. You can even grab one wrist with the other wrist. And close your eyes. Say peace. And now imagine vividly your success, the completion of the book, getting published, celebratory dinners, whatever that looks like for you. See what you're wearing, who you're with, what it sounds like. And see your bank account filling up and paying bills easily, rewarding yourself for the hard work you put into it, having fun with your families, whatever that picture looks like. The New York Times bestseller rating or Amazon bestseller status, #1. And feel that in your body. Feel your cells tingling. See if the energy is moving or vibrating. Notice if your emotions are hopeful or joyous, if they're bubbly, optimistic, or positive. And in this moment, how much can you love your creativity? Can you love your unique voice? Can you be grateful for the writing flow? Being part of a writing community, receiving positive feedback, and enjoying the process. in knowing that you have an enlightened procrastinator on your success team that's holding space for success in alignment with your soul's purpose. And breathe in and know it is there. And so it is. And when you're ready, what do you sense? What do you notice?
I heard the birds chirping in the background. I just felt happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being in the moment, hearing the birds chirping, happy. Excellent. Yeah, Nick, what are you sensing? What are you noticing?
I was saying I thought the birds were a good effect for me. Just peaceful, nice.
Peaceful, nice, excellent. Yeah. Dawn?
Feels like getting some nice external validation that it's okay to dream about things, and it's okay to picture, the actor that you want, like tweeting about a new movie or what, I don't know. And it feels, I guess, when you're sitting on it alone, it feels kind of silly and like it's a pie in the sky dream, but it's nice to have permission, to give myself permission to think that way and to dream like that.
Yeah. Chrissy?
Yeah, sense of calm. I love the birds. They came in at the right spot, and yeah, what Dawn said and everything else, just nice.
Excellent. Yeah, I got the birds going here too, and it is. So that's really important, Dawn. I want to go back to giving yourself permission. So pie in the sky, that's, whose voice is that? What's the source of that? Because that's not your true self. That's not your soul self. That's an old voice. That's an old story. So I love that you have this awareness and you're able to shift it and go, I can give myself permission. Yeah. What would your life look like? And who would you be if you felt this relaxation, this peace, this happiness every day for the next week? And then wrote from this energy. Yeah, that's how to supercharge your writing.
Yeah.
Good. Excellent job, folks. Excellent. Any other comments? Otherwise, we're going to move on. But awesome job. Celebrating you all. All right. So good job on that. So here's some procrastination busters. I wanted to give you some actual strategies for how to bust through procrastination. Tapping one of them, meditating, just getting present to what's going on. If you walk, it's like a walking meditation, move your energy. And also by walking or moving your body, it ramps up your energy because you're getting more oxygen and blood flow. You can do some journaling, some reflections, inquire into the pattern. We talked about this a smidge, right? And then challenge the beliefs, tap to reprogram it. Do you get it after the tapping we just did? We can reprogram this. Dawn, if I use, that's a perfect example. It might seem pie in the sky, but it's like, I can give myself permission. That's what I'm talking about. So thank you for that. I honor you for that. What I mean by soul-directed project management is do your tapping and meditations, connecting up to your soul or your true self, and then think about your project management, because you will be in a place of alignment and connection. Get yourself relaxed, happy, calm, gratitude for the birds, right? And then figure out what's my next step on the project, okay? And think about smaller tasks, smaller bites. It doesn't have to be this like, let's publish a book. It's like, let's write that scene. So it's a SMART goal. You know, if you set yourself a deadline, whether it's real or imaginary, your brain's not going to know the difference, right? So if you know you have a hard date of submitting something on July 31st, give yourself that imaginary date of July 24th, and then stick to that for accountability. And now you've got yourself a cushion, okay? So organization, get yourself organized with what you need to write, any of the research. You know, if setting yourself that appointment, like Chrissy was talking about, doesn't work, then just ease and find those ways to flow into it. But being more organized will help you get over the hump of procrastinating because you feel so frazzled. Okay, so there's a 2-minute technique that David Allen came up with. So if you're sitting there and you're gonna write, but there's something that's bugging you, if it would take you 2 minutes or less to get it done, then just do it and get it out of the way, because that's gonna clear it out of your mind. It's gonna clear it off your plate. If it's gonna take more than 2 minutes, then set it aside, because you don't wanna get distracted by all these 2-minute things, but you do want to get yourself in a place of connecting to the flow. So that's what I mean by 2 minutes and done. There's also another book, and the technique is, and Chris, this might work for you, it might work for the other folks too, you know, Lauren, and I'm not picking on anybody, but it's like, if you know you want to start writing, or anything that you find tough, like that's hard, just give yourself a countdown, and it's like, okay, I'm going to do that in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you go. Right? Give yourself that countdown like the starting gun's going to go off. All right. We've talked about the Pomodoro method before. The 25 minutes on, the writing, the celebrating. Okay. Now, I call them accountability angels, buddies, or teammates. These are your writing buddies. It could be an accountability an angel. Somebody, you know, you can set up text accountability. You could use Google Drive for an Excel spreadsheet and put your dates and who's going to do what. I use that with one of my coaching friends. But get your buddy system going up so that if you've got a deadline, somebody can help you get over the humps of this. Okay. Now, if you could use a paper notebook system for your to-do list and what you need to get done. You could use Post-its if that works, or it could be people via technology. It could be digital. Find what works for you. That's the bottom line. Everyone writes different. Everyone's brains and energy are different. Okay. And then celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Reward yourself. And woohoo, you'll make more progress. Any comments on this? Do those strategies sound good?
Very good.
Okay, great. Does anyone have strategies to add that you've found ways to bust in your procrastination? Yes, Dawn.
I actually have this little trick that I use sometimes where I start writing as a character dealing with what I'm currently dealing with, like, oh, I don't feel like doing this right now. And I actually started doing that, and it turned into like a scene that I ended up using. And I don't know, it's just like you just write something as one of your characters, and just, even if you don't plan to ever use it or you're just gonna throw it away, like it's like getting it out and just getting something on paper.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that, actually. Anybody else? That's a really good one.
Yeah, I've done that before. I love that strategy because it helps you get their voice too.
Yep. Good. You know, and the thing with that is you're also depersonalizing it. Think about the phrase, I am a procrastinator, you're owning it, right? You don't want to do that. You have a voice of procrastination, but you are not procrastination. right? So this character writing is the character is saying, oh, I'm so stuck and I'm procrastinating. You've just depersonalized it, which frees you up to have that flow. So that's really good.
You know what else I do? I sometimes I get into editing too much and not moving on. So sometimes I have to force myself to open up another blank Word document and just not even look at what I have before and just, look at stuff fresh and not be, confused by what I had before that.
Yep. There you go. And that avoids the confusion and overwhelm. Is it fair to say an overwhelm?
Yeah, because you're not seeing it. It's not even, this is a different project. You're kind of tricking your mind,
Yeah. I love the tricks to the mind. Good. Lauren or Nick, any other tips from you for how you deal with procrastination or how you trick it or overcome it?
I don't have any others to add. I like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I've used that in even has it introducing yourself to someone, they say to do it within 5 seconds, I think, and then, or if you let that pass. So I like that one. And the deadlines really resonated with me because I started to do that. I said, let me come up with, I'm doing a ton of content, which I need, but I also I'm getting really saturated with all learning a bunch of things about blogs and nutrition more. But I'm like, if I set myself to just start small with twice a month and get some post ideas, title ideas down, and then write those. And so that has helped me with the kind of imaginary deadlines, because it's not real. I'm kind of making them up, but that has helped me.
Excellent. Love it. Okay. And Nick, would you like to add anything?
I don't think I can really add too much. I mean, sometimes just picking just one scene, just working on that can help. Instead of looking at the whole picture, look at the small part, just focus on that.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because sometimes, the whole can be too big, or the whole can be, overwhelming.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So in that case, is it true that you're limiting your focus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. There you go. I can resonate with that one. I can relate to that one, because otherwise, I can just go down a rabbit's hole, or it turns into Encyclopedia Britannica when I'm trying to write a Reader's Digest. And heaven forbid I'm trying to write a tweet, right? And it's like those rabbit holes, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm over here and I'm supposed to be over here. And meanwhile, 5 hours, or not 5 hours, but well, sometimes there's been days when it was 5 hours later, and it's like, and then Dawn, like you, file save as, Chrissy, start a new document, and then it's like, and get back to it. And I've always got that over here. Someday I'll go for it. That's a whole other story, but it's like, pull it in, rein it in. That's the creative idealist profile. Great for creativity, but focus. So those are awesome. We'll have to find out from Maria what she'd like to add to this. So, okay, let's get on to our Writing Heroes Love Support Seat. So, we had, this slide should be up here. Lauren's gonna read first. Then we've got, okay, Maria's not here tonight. So then Dawn, Nikki, and Chris, Dawn, Nick, and Chrissy. So time permitting, okay? And I want you to be thinking also about where you are on the hero's journey. So, okay, so let's get into the reading, if you will, and the feedback.
I'm ready.
Okay, great, go for it.
And I guess the feedback I just look for is if it flows. When I did a little editing this morning, and I'm not sure if it goes together. So that'd be the only thing to make sure it flows.
Okay.
So the title is Creative Ways to Grill This Summer. We've recently had some hot days and nights here in New England. Heating up the house by turning on the stove to cook sounds less than appealing. And many families have said they are struggling with what to eat, tiring of the same meals they had to cook all year, especially this spring. Taking advantage of your grill is a great way to create some new meals and keep your kitchen cool. We might not even feel that hungry when it's hot and humid, but it's important to keep our bodies fueled, especially for families who can be more active playing into later hours of the evening. Grilling can be more than burgers and hot dogs, but they are a favorite of ours. Almost anything can be grilled, from pizza to fruit. For an easy meal, first pick your favorite protein with a simple marinade, and marinate in the refrigerator for 8 to 24 hours. This marinade, including a link for steak, is delicious and uses basic ingredients. Other marinades include Italian dressing, balsamic vinegar, and barbecue sauce. Then add a vegetable. Summer squash, zucchini, and peppers can taste great grilled. We also enjoy this pasta salad as a side dish loaded with vegetables. Do you meal plan for the week? Typically, I plan our dinners based on our activities for the week, sale items from the store circular, and input from the family. The answer to the question, what do you feel like for dinner? It may sound like a lot to consider, but it becomes a habit and helps us use up what we buy for the week and eat meals at home. However, when it comes to grilling, it would almost be helpful to check the weather forecast. The conversation my husband and I usually have on grill nights. My husband, what's for dinner? I respond, you're grilling. He scoffs, great, today it's going to rain. Here are some ways to get creative and grill safely. So in bold, 3 ways to up your grilling game. Wrap corn on the cob loosely in foil and season with butter, salt, and pepper or olive oil. Add some chopped fresh basil or a squirt of lime juice for some zest. Serve kebabs. It is fun to eat food off a stick. The combinations are endless. Beef with peppers and onions, chicken with squash, zucchini or tomatoes, scallops with pineapple. It can be a great way to try different vegetables. Vegetables can be cut for the week in one batch. Then, when ready to grill, drizzle with olive oil and seasonings like an Italian dressing packet, or salt and pepper, and wrap in foil to steam on the grill. You can also place vegetables directly on the grill. This video shows how food should be separated to achieve the best grilling results. In bold again, keep it safe. Invest in a meat thermometer to be sure your meats are thoroughly cooked and avoid overcooking. Wash your hands after touching raw meats and follow the guidelines in the following image to avoid cross-contamination and foodborne illness. Grilling can help solve the monotony of meal planning and have us increase the variety of foods we eat. It can still be hot cooking by the grill, but try adding an umbrella over the space. And as always, thank the cook. What are your menu ideas that get you excited for the season? That's it.
All right. Love the call to action at the end. What are your menu ideas?
Okay.
There you go. Way to engage the readers and get them to engage with you.
Okay.
Okay, what else for Lauren for feedback?
Awesome food ideas. My stomach is rumbling right now, and I just ate dinner before. I love the basil with corn. Is that what you said? The basil and lime with corn?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. This post, it sticks with me because my husband and I are both fantastic for being like, burgers tonight, yeah. And then it's raining, and one of us is like, not one of us, is out there like, I'll be honest. One of us is out there like in the rain. I'm out there in the rain grilling, and the food doesn't come out as good when it's getting wet and all, the grill doesn't heat up correctly. The one thing I would love to see is you have in the past, like with the strawberries, you brought in some kind of like little family stories that you kind of wove in. I think with blogs, it's hard because it's like you don't want to be totally transparent. I mean, you still want to keep some of your family life private. There's a lot of bloggers out there who they don't hold back at all. But I love those little like anecdotes about our little stories about well, my daughter, for example, she likes to have olive oil on her corn, and we do like the Himalayan sea salt or something like that. Just something like that, so that it's more like, well, you have such an amazing family, and have talked about them in other posts too. So I just think that is a little way of kind of connecting a little more personal with the blog reader. But other than that, it's fantastic. And now I need to grill something immediately. So
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
Okay,
Oh.
awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Dawn. I love that little scene with the husband scoffing, and yeah, you could even add to that if you want to. People love that, the realism of that, because everyone goes through that. And yeah, I mean, even if you do have some of those, like Dawn was saying, standing up there with the umbrella, and they love to hear like, okay, so one night I was out there and, we all wanted grilled food and I stuck, so yeah, I mean, you could add to that, but yeah, it's very current with the grilling. I love how you said to thank the cook. I like that humor and the umbrella. And even mentioning the grilling pizza and fruit, that's interesting too, because people a lot of times forget about that. So very good.
Awesome. Thank you.
I love the creativity of this. I mean, I'm not really a cook. More often than not, I end up just sticking something from the frozen food aisle in the microwave. But just the ideas are great, and I love the inclusion of the video because visuals are always appreciated. And yeah, the anecdotes are great. There's all different ideas, and uh, also about weather situations. All very good, helpful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep. So you start out strong, you end strong. I definitely agree with Dawn on like the family stories. So it could almost be like you've got a knack for intertwining them, because otherwise the structure could be that you write your nutritional instruction piece and then you have the family down below. But I almost like you're interweaving, because
Okay.
I do that really well. Lauren, I'm still seeing these, like, yes, you've written, how many words? Do you know how many words that is?
Oh, it doesn't come up for me here.
Okay, that's fine. So here's the thing. A lot of blog posts can be between, say, like 300 and 500 words. If you get more than that, it's more like an article type deal.
Okay.
The way you write, you're setting yourself up for multiple topics within your one blog post. So
Okay.
one of them is grill safety, and you could expand on it, right? So, and like the first one could be, grilling for the summer, the umbrella, right? The shade, the tools you need for grilling, grill safety, right?
Okay.
That could be your setup for number one. You had 3 easy steps to, and it's one, check your activities, 3 easy steps to deciding if tonight's a grill night, right?
Okay.
So one is check the activities, 2, the sales flyer, and I didn't catch what the 3 was, but it, like, what's for dinner maybe,
Mm-hmm.
like whatever that 3 is. That's a whole blog post right there.
Okay.
And in that blog post, you could totally make that point of like, Ma, what's for dinner? Little Susie Q comes in and is all hot and sweaty from playing in the dirt, and it's 90 degrees and I don't want to turn the oven or stove on. Right? So,
Yes.
so there's that one. The grill safety, I think I said safety.
Mm-hmm.
Cooking pizza on the grill, it's like, getting pizza out of the oven and onto the racks type deal. Like, you could come up with a clever title for that. I would like to hear more about that. So yes, you've got them in one blog post now, but I still say and you know what, call me and we can like hash this out type deal. Like, and now, like, by breaking it apart and expanding and then throwing the family stories in, now you've got a series. Now you've got
Right.
to reach into people who want to engage and find out what the next one is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And I love that you said there'll be a video and there'll be images and then recipes. Okay.
That's at the bottom too. Yes.
Yep. So the only thing I heard with the recipes is I think there's a way to introduce those a little smoother at the top.
Okay.
Okay. So again, if you want to, have some time, or if you got a bonus session or whatever, like, just like there's ways to smooth it and to introduce it better. Here's one of my favorite recipes, here's little Billy Lou's, favorite recipe for, right? He doesn't like summer squash boiled on the stove because it turns into mush, but he loves it on the grill, Okay, so those are my thoughts. I hope some of that's useful, but I really love your writing style and it's really developing.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you very much for all the feedback.
You're welcome. Okay, great. Who's next? Dawn, were you next?
Yeah, I can read.
Okay.
And
thank you, Lauren. Good job.
Thank you.
I'll just start where I left off last time, if that's cool.
Yep.
Okay. All right. He suddenly had an urge to check his social media. It was not an instinctive pull, like when people alone at restaurants reach for their phones to gaze at nothing while waiting for a friend to arrive. It was an actual need, something gnawing at him suddenly to check his messages before taking a piss and going downstairs to turn the light off over the kitchen sink. His eyes darted over the clock, 10:57 p.m. He looked at his computer screen and saw it. Hi, sorry to bug you. You don't know me. I'm Zach. I searched your name and found that you live in Salinsford, New Hampshire. I recently did a mail-order DNA test, and I got the name Louisa Brantley back as being a possible relative. I looked her up, and I can see that she's related to a Casey James in Salinsford. I think that might be you. I was adopted in November of 1997 from a hospital in Portland, Oregon, and I only learned 4 years ago that I was not my parents' biological child. I would like to learn more about my birth family, especially if you might know who my mother is. I hope that I'm not bothering you and also that this is not upsetting, as that's the last thing that I want to happen. Casey gazed at the message request that had come in from an unfamiliar profile, Zachary Hickey, a teenager whose face was tanned from a lacrosse game with wispy hair the color of a cardboard box. Something deep in the pit of Casey's stomach churned in an unwelcome way. Who the hell was this guy, and why was he reaching out to Casey to get answers about his past? Casey perused the kid's public photos. He was lanky and handsome in a cookie-cutter, all-American kind of way. He gathered from the group shots of a bunch of generic-looking middle-class kids in a late-night outing at Bob Evans that Zach originated somewhere in the Midwest. In one of the photos that Casey could see, Zach stood in a blue satin graduation gown, cap perched atop his pretty head, with a very tiny dark-haired woman proudly giving him a side hug. Someone named Marla Daniels had commented, "Great pic, Zachy. Your mom looks wonderful, and I know your dad is proud of you." Casey analyzed the photo longer than he should have. Jesus Christ, his best friend Nick Dobbs masked his disbelief with a half laugh over the phone when Casey called him a few minutes later. He could not keep this one to himself, and the idea of tempting Michelle's anger by waking her seemed too risky. He had tiptoed past Mary Ellen, passed out drunk on the couch, to make his way into the privacy of the freezing cold garage. Louisa must have done one of those DNA kit things, where they tell you if you're related to, like, George Washington and shit. I guess, Casey sighed as he traced his index finger along the wood-carved sign hung outside of the closed door that led into the kitchen hallway while he debated sneaking a cigarette. "Welcome to the Brantleys, our den of happiness," the sign read sarcastically. His sister had been diagnosed with cancer at 55. Not that they had even been close before she had let him know about the disease ravaging her body. Rounds of chemo and a double mastectomy later, and she had been declared in remission. For a time, she'd even gone back to teaching until the demon, as she typed it out to Casey in their last exchanged email 6 months ago, returned with a vengeance, this time spotting her lungs like an inkblot test. When she had passed away in December, her attorney had let Casey know that she had donated her entire estate to the Women's Studies Department. Not a cent would go to him or his family. Casey was not surprised. He had not expected her to remember her 22 years younger half-brother, whose impending existence had been the final straw that made Louisa's mother file for divorce from her unfaithful husband. Casey had not felt right going to the funeral, and Nick had offered to go instead. Casey was surprised that this Zach Hickey had not managed to find a trace of Louisa's obituary, or perhaps she was just being too kind to not mention that she had hit a roadblock that he had hit a roadblock with her death. This Zach is related to your sister? How is that possible? Nick almost sounded angry. He just said this DNA company listed her as a relative. Casey let his breath out slowly. You think maybe Lou had a kid and put her up for adoption? She was always a career gal, right? Probably not. Right. There's no way. Jesus, 1997. I saw Lou a few times that year and she definitely wasn't pregnant. She was drinking and she still smoked then too. He's got to be my dad's son. Your old man? No way. It's the only explanation. This kid is looking for money. Could be. Their conversation faded into polite chit-chat as the year 1997 suddenly flashed into Casey's head. He had been 24 that summer, when his father had died of a massive heart attack. He remembered the deadpan phone call from his sister. James Sr.'s much younger girlfriend, Claudine, had found him on the floor of their study in the large Victorian house that he had originally shared with Casey's mother before Vivian's own death. Maybe Zach was Claudine's child and she had given him up for adoption. No, Casey reasoned, she would not have done that. Maybe his father had had yet another girlfriend on the side, and this was who had produced Zach Hickey at some point that year. That explanation seemed the most obvious. Louisa's mother was an only child, as was Casey's father and his own mother. Growing up, Casey had often wondered what it would be like to have a house full of rowdy cousins and aunts and uncles who lovingly cared for him. As a child, he had been passed off to nannies or randomly doted on by a young mother who balanced somewhere between devoted wife, half-hearted caregiver, and derailed aspiring actress with a distinctive Parisian accent. She held dual citizenship from her American father, yet Casey was the burden that tied her to staying in the States. She had been too young to really embrace motherhood and insisted that her son grow up calling her by her first name. When Vivi had accidentally taken her own life when he was 12, Casey had banked any good memories and forced himself to forget her. He did not plan on answering this Zach person. There were 3 other Louisa Brantleys in the United States. 2 similar social media pages had the blank human outline of an inactive profile someone had started and abandoned or dummied to spy, like his own Chris Smith disguise that he used to occasionally check up on his students or ensure that Mariella was behaving herself online. It had scared him how quickly and with such little concern Mari had accepted his friend request. Casey had pulled up a random attractive photo of a light-haired kid with dark sunglasses and heavy headphones wrapped around his ears. A deeper internet search could have told even the daftest person that Chris Smith's visage belonged to a semi-famous Swedish DJ, but everyone these days was just too trusting. Casey sighed as he sat down on the wooden stairs leading from the garage into the house, ending his call to Nick. His one consolation was that this Zach Hickey kid definitely was not his. Simple math told him that Zach had been conceived sometime in early 1997, the year when Casey had been teaching outside of Pittsburgh, while still heavily invested in a serious long-distance relationship with his then-girlfriend, Valerie, who lived back in Boston. The year 1997 had been a long, dry spell for him. He had definitely not fathered any children that year. The only seemingly possible answer seemed to be that Zach belonged to his father. If it was true, Casey owed him nothing and did not feel any real obligation to clean up anything the old man might have left behind. Hadn't he and Louisa already dealt with the man's bloated dead body almost 20 years before? Was it now necessary to drag a teenager more than likely looking for free college into the mix? Casey knew that he should have felt more for him, being a high school teacher dealing with not quite adults, almost Zach's exact age, all day long already, but he tried to put the kid's toothy smile out of his head. Instead, he found himself back at his laptop in his office. It was easy. He simply rolled over the options on his social media page and hit the word block. It was amazing how dumbly that umbilical cord was severed. He deleted Zach's message and realized he had managed to melt the boy's existence with only 2 light mouse clicks through a gentle flick of his finger. If only everything was that uncomplicated. If only erasing other people and their chain of actions could be accomplished by doing so little. That's it.
Wow. Okay, feedback for Dawn. Love the conclusion, like boom, erase.
Yeah.
I liked how you, if it was a if it's a full chapter, I like how you introduced it and then closed it out, still referencing the social media again. I could even tell when you said the Jesus Christ part, if that was the new paragraph. I liked how you went from things. I liked how you Like I could kind of tell like it would be a new paragraph. I liked just how that flowed. And your humor is really good, and then you bring it down to serious. So I like how you flow with that. It was really good. I'm still interested to hear it. It's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, your transitions are so good. And I struggle with those. So I'm always looking to see how you do that. Like I love how he's on the internet and the phone call with Nick. It's very seamless. And I love the mother-in-law passed out on the couch. The conversation with Nick is great. It's very realistic. I can see him saying that and the kind of personality he has. I love the splotting lungs like an ink blot test. And the hair, the color of cardboard, that's a great description. And oh yeah, how dumbly that umbilical cord was severed was great too. Like just that, don't have to worry about it. It's not my problem.
Yep.
I was gonna say I love your metaphors.
Yeah.
Always
Thank
have these
you.
great comparisons. The umbilical cord, inkblot test, so good. And I love this conversation between two guys. It felt very natural, very relatable. You know, I could see, immediately calling a friend up over talking to the wife. It feels a little more secure at the time. Yeah. The mother-in-law passed out. Great.
He's one of my favorite characters, I think.
Got a great name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was dynamite. Those phrases are great. I love, you put in the details of in your languaging, it's taking a piss and then the 10:57. I love the details, right? Yeah. Definitely, calling into question a biological child of the mother. It's like, whoa, right? So definitely like that's a biggie. Cookie cut, the handsome and the cookie cutter, right? Was great. George Washington and shit. It's like, yeah, right? The ink blot for sure. I wrote that one down. Okay. And you described the situation with the divorce, the mother and the divorce, and like everything that was going on. Like you describe it so well in only a couple sentences.
Yeah.
So yeah, those transitions, the bloated dead body, 2 clicks, 2 clicks in the erase. It's like, so really good. Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah. Great. All right. So we still have some time. We've got about 20 minutes or so. Who would like to read next? I think, do I need to check the list or you guys know?
I can go.
I think it was Nick. Yeah, go for it. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Chapter 4. The next morning, Charlie woke up ready for a new day. The previous day had been a blur and much more exciting than he had expected. He had never imagined that his time at the new school would end with him pushing a kid out of the way of a truck. They supposed life was unpredictable that way. Plus, it seemed like he may have gotten some friends out of the situation. School that morning was pretty uneventful. He went to class, listened to a lecture, and moved on to another class. During science, the professor asked the students get into pairs to be lab partners. Before Charlie even knew what was happening, he was grabbed by the arm and dragged to a desk by a pretty brunette girl in a cheerleader uniform. Her hair cascaded in curls over her shoulders and down her back, and she looked at him in a way that Charlie supposed a lioness would look at her lunch. "You're with me, new boy. We're going to make such great partners," she said, keeping her hand clamped like a vice around his arm. Do I know you?" He glanced down at a notebook she dropped on the desk. There was a name scrawled over a label stuck to the top. "Lurley?" he tried. Lurley shook her head. It's pronounced Lear-lay, like to leer at somebody and to lay somebody down. "We haven't actually met yet. I'm Lear-lay King, head of cheer squad and the richest girl in school. My daddy is the CEO of..." You're in my English class, right? Now Charlie remembered her. She had been one of the girls looking at him when she thought he didn't notice. Literally beamed. Yes, of course you remember me being as fabulous as I am. I think we make a great match, don't you? Hard to say, seeing as we've only known each other for about a minute. Charlie responded while trying to tug his arm away. I'm popular, rich, and beautiful. What more do you need? Was it Charlie's imagination, or was she pushing her breasts towards him? Her grip hadn't loosened, so Charlie concentrated on his arm and focused some power to heat it up slightly. Not enough to actually burn her, but just to give her a slight surprise. Sure enough, after a second, Literally, a shirt spy's cry and jerked her hand away. Reading good books lately? He asked. Larry blinked, looking a little confused. I hope you're happy with the partners you've chosen, the teacher called from up front, because these will be your lab partners for the rest of the year. Charlie had to hold himself back from audibly groaning while Larry lit up. I can't wait to make chemistry with you, Charlie, she purred. Now it's Charlie's turn to blink. Is this a biology class? The rest of the morning was pretty uneventful. Charlie zoned out for a couple more classes, and finally it was time for lunch. Once in the cafeteria, Charlie looked around for somewhere to sit. Perhaps there was an empty table somewhere. He spotted Literally heading towards him eagerly while being trailed by two other girls, also in cheerleading uniforms. Desperately searched for an out. Hey, Charlie, over here. It was James, the guy he'd met last night. He was waving over to a table he was sitting at with a spiky blonde-haired girl and a dark-skinned boy with glasses. Relieved for an escape, he hardly zipped away from the determined cheerleader and flopped down across from James. Hey, how's it going? Charlie asked, looking around at the group he had joined. He was sitting next to the other boy in the group who had dark skin and dark hair. He had been leaning over a sketch pad, but looked up when Charlie sat down. Well, James said, I'm not one with the pavement, so I'd say I'm doing pretty well. Oh, these are my friends Kat McDonald and David Collins. He pointed to the other two as he spoke their names. Guys, this is my new friend Charlie Longjohn. He's the one who saved my life yesterday. Oh, it was nothing. Had James just said friend? Everything had felt like it had gone by pretty fast yesterday, and Charlie hadn't really been able to gauge how well it went. If James now considered them friends, then it must have actually gone well. Charlie felt pleased. It wasn't nothing, man. If it wasn't for you, James would be dead, David said, reaching out a hand to shake. Though you might not have needed to save him if James had better instincts than to just stand in the road while a truck is heading towards him. That's not funny, the girl, Kat, said. You were just as scared as I was when you heard rumors of James being hit. So glad you're okay, James, she said, turning her focus on James. Kat, you know I was just having fun. Obviously I'm glad that he's okay. Well, I think we can call us even since you just rescued me from lunch with Larry King. James looked up with clear interest. Larry, huh? She made a move? We are now biolab partners for the foreseeable future. She also made it pretty clear that she felt we'd make a great couple. And you turn her down? I told her it was early to say that since we barely know each other. The other three burst into laughter. Oh, Kat said, I really wish I could have seen her face. That must have been the first time anyone ever said no to her, James said, grinning. Really? Oh, yeah, David said. She's always been popular, mostly due to being rich. Her dad owns, what was it? Some juice company or something, James replied. She spent most of her life being treated like some hotshot. The fact that the shiny new guy is interested in her must blow her mind. Kat sighed, smiling widely. Well, I think it's good for her to finally be told no for once. I don't think she's given up yet, Charlie said. Like I said, she's just tried to drive me to her table with a couple other girls. David nodded. Tracy and Stacy. There are a couple of yes girls that follow her everywhere like shadows. I don't think either of them ever have thought of their own. As he spoke, David reached over and started marking the sketch pad that was on the table next to him. Charlie glanced down at the pad. It looked like he was in the middle of drawing a car. He was half done, but looked immaculate. Charlie thought about his project back to home. Perhaps David could be of help. You get the cars, man? He asked. David nodded in response, but before he could say anything, Kat spoke in, more like obsessed. Having a hobby that I'm enthusiastic about does not make me obsessed, David said, scowling. You ever actually work on a car? Charlie asked. Huh? Oh, yeah, sure. My uncle owns a garage. Lets me help out. I've learned a lot from him. So if I say you had a car that needed to be fixed up, would you be able to help me out? David bit a piece. Yeah, David bit a piece of pizza, chewed for a moment, and then swallowed. I suppose it would depend on the car. Do you actually have one you need help with? Charlie smiled. I've got a little vehicle at home that I want to fix up and get going. Problem is, I don't know anything about cars. But if you do want to run help, that'd be great. Sure, David said. I could check it out if you want. I'm free this afternoon after school if that works. Absolutely, Charlie said. You two can come. You guys can come too if you want. Oh, I'd love to, Kat said eagerly. Sure, James nodded. If Holly can come too, she can drive. Dad gave her his car. He mainly works from home, and he decided after yesterday that he would feel better if Holly and I drove ourselves to school rather than take the bus. Sounds like a plan, Charlie said, scarfing down his peanut butter sandwich. As he did, he caught a teacher scowling at him out of the corner of his eye. He swallowed, jerked his thumb towards the teacher, and asked, What's his deal? The others glanced over at the teacher and back at each other. Well, James began, not everyone was a fan of your dad's announcement this morning. About the dress code? That morning, Charlie's father had announced that the dress code was officially changing. Tank tops were now allowed, as well as shorts and skirts that didn't necessarily reach to their fingertips. Bellies still need to remain covered, but in all, the dress code was now much more relaxed towards the girls. Yeah, Kat said. Apparently some teachers aren't too thrilled about the change. Well, they'll just have to deal with it, Charlie said. Once Dad's made up his mind, it's pretty much impossible to get him to change it. The bell rang out, signaling the end of lunch. All right, so I'll talk to my sister and then we can all go to Charlie's this afternoon, James said. They all agreed eagerly as they packed up. Cool, Charlie said. I'll see you in English later, James. The rest of the afternoon flew by, and before Charlie knew it, he and James were walking together towards Holly's cherry red Nissan Altima. Holly was already in the driver's seat, wearing a pair of pink sunglasses, her hair tied up in a ponytail behind her. Kat was next to the car, chatting with Holly, and looked up when she heard him approaching. Hey, Charlie said, waving. Nice ride, Holly. Holly grinned, obviously proud of her new wheels. How's the rest of your day, guys? Kat asked. Charlie noticed that while she had said guys, she wasn't actually looking at him, just at James. Pretty uneventful, James said. Got a history project. School year's barely begun, and yet Mrs. Drew is already giving us projects. Well, maybe I can help you with it, Kat said. Before James could answer, their conversation was cut short by a loud whistle, which turned out to be David. Wow, that's one hell of a car. Maybe I should nearly get hit in the parking lot if it earns me a sweet ride like that. You're a riot, Dave, Holly said, lowering his sunglasses a bit. So we're going to Charlie's to check out some car he has? Yeah, pretty much, Charlie said. I'm hoping David can help me with a project of mine. All right, then what are we waiting for? David said, grinning. Let's go. Oh, and also, shotgun. With that, he ran around to the passenger side and hopped in next to Holly. James hopped into the back. Charlie started to follow, and then noticed Kat and thought better of it. Hey, Kat, he said. You're the smallest between us three. Why don't you ride in the middle? He saw Kat's face light up as she eagerly slid in next to James. As Charlie sat down in the final seat, he noticed that Holly was looking at him in the rearview mirror. Her eyes moved towards James's cat, and she smiled and nodded. The ride didn't take too long. Holly zipped through the streets at a decent pace, and they were at Charlie's house before they knew it. Both Dave and Kat were awestruck by the house as they pulled up. Oh, so that's what we looked like last night, Holly said as she put the car in park. A light? All right, the vehicle is in the shop in the basement. Follow me, Charlie said quickly as he led the group inside. Once indoors, he made towards the elevator but was stopped by David. Hold up, what's going on here? What? What do you mean what? We pull up in front of a mansion and we enter and it's just a regular house. Trust me, Holly said, this is not a regular house. No, James added. How does that work, Charlie? Oh, that, Charlie said. It's a perception filter. Basically a powerful glamour. What? Illusion magic. When you enter this place, you see what looks like the inside of a regular suburban home, but it's just an image being projected by magic to make it look smaller. However, that space you don't see doesn't just disappear. Instead, we're able to transfer it to other places in the house. In reality, this house is as big as it looks on the outside. We just rearranged the space a bit. Rather than a big entrance area, we have a large workshop downstairs, a big attic instead of a massive dining room, and the space to move an elevator around rather than high ceilings. James and Holly can tell you that some of the space was put into the staircase as well. So it's just a really big optical illusion, Kat said, trailing her hand down the wall. Yeah, basically. You also don't necessarily need to move any space around at all. You could just make it look different. Could that be used on a person too? James asked. Like, can you make yourself look like someone else? Charlie thought about it. Yeah, I could, but it would take a tremendous amount of power and concentration. It wouldn't be easy. Anyway, let's head down to the workshop already. With that, he turned and moved towards the elevator. Oh no, Holly said. Are there any regular stairs we could use instead? James asked. Charlie smiled. There's a set of emergency stairs, but the elevator is easier. Dave and Kat looked back and forth between Charlie and the other two. What's wrong with the elevator? Kat asked. You'll see, Holly replied. Just hold on to something, James advised. It's fine, I swear, Charlie said. Honestly, he had thought that rocketing around in the elevator last night had been a lot of fun. He hit a button and they entered. As they did, he saw James and Holly immediately grab for safety rails. Hold on, guys, James said again. This thing is crazy. Kat and David followed suit, and each grabbed onto a rail. The doors closed, and Charlie pushed the button labeled workshop. Holly and James squeezed their eyes shut, bracing themselves. Here we go, Holly said through gritted teeth. The elevator came to life, and proceeded to simply move downward at a regular pace. After a few seconds, there was a ding, and the doors slid open. James and Holly opened their eyes and looked around confused. You know, Charlie said, fighting back laughter, sometimes it just brings you directly to the next floor. You, did that on purpose to make us look ridiculous, didn't you? James asked. A little bit, yeah, Charlie said, cracking a smile. They left the elevator and entered a large room that felt like a basement. It was dark and the sound echoed as they walked. Charlie snapped his fingers and the light sprang to life, revealing the room he had helped his father set up a couple days ago. The floor was made of cement, as were the walls, some of which were lined with wooden shelves that held different things that his father had tinkered with. Along one wall was his father's wooden workbench, covered in junk already. Wow, so you guys, build stuff in here? Holly asked. Yeah, we make stuff here and there. They're always successful, though. Sometimes they work, sometimes they blow up. You know how it is. What are those? Kat asked, pointing to two large black discs with handles leaning against the work table. Ah, those are giant magnet clamps. Magnet clamps? David repeated. Yeah, so you can climb up a building or something like that. Why would you want to climb a building? Why not? Charlie replied. It'd be fun. We didn't actually build those anyway. Dad ordered online because he thought they looked cool. What's with the safe? James asked, walking up to a large black box in the corner of the room. Oh, that's our gun safe. Guns? David asked. You're wizards. Why do you need guns? Well, for one, sometimes we like going down to the gun range now and then. Secondly, magic takes a lot of concentration. Sometimes a gun is faster. Kat tilted her head. Do you get into a lot of situations like that often? Charlie shrugged. Not yet. Come on, the vehicle's in the next room. He led them across the workshop and through another door. On the other side was a garage-type room, in the center of which Charlie's project waited under a tarp. Here it is, he said as he jogged up and yanked the tarp to the ground. The reveal was met with complete silence. Charlie turned to see his new friends just staring dumbfounded at what was under the tarp. Well, he asked. David finally spoke. Oh, dear God, it's the mystery machine. Charlie turned and looked back at the old 70s van. It was brown and covered in colorful flowers. Okay, you say mystery machine like an insult, but in some occasions that thing's pretty badass. I thought you said car, David asked, still clearly in shock. Technically, I never said car. So, what do you think? Could you get it running? He asked. David walked around the van, kicked the tires, poked his head under to check out the undercarriage, and finally popped the hood and looked inside. Well, it looks like it's in good shape, he said, studying the van's innards. Some pieces need to be replaced yet, but yeah, I think we could get it going. Why do you want to get this running? It's a fossil. Well, I don't want to drive it as much as I want to fly it. Wait, you can make this thing fly? David asked, pushing his glasses back up. Theoretically, yes. I did some research online and found instructions on how to synthesize a special fuel that would allow this van to take flight. Cool. That doesn't answer the question, though. Why the van? Because it's cool, David. We're going to have to agree to disagree on that one. Once it's flying, you won't care what kind of car it is. So will you do it? David took a step back and looked the van up and down again. After a moment, he finally nodded. Yeah, I'll help you. Yes. Thank you so much. You won't regret it. We can start next week. They shook hands. Charlie felt elated. He couldn't believe his flying van was going to become a reality. He was going to like it here in this small New Hampshire town. They decided to go back upstairs to grab something to eat. On the way up in the elevator, Holly came up with an idea. Hey, anyone want to go to the movie Saturday? I want to see that new movie, Dance with a Vampire. Isn't that part of that crappy vampire romance series? James asked. Is there anything else playing? I think it could be fun, Kat said. Thank you, Kat, Holly said. David, Charlie, what do you guys think? Charlie had never heard of this movie, but he figured even if he didn't like the movie, hanging out with the new friends would still be fun. Sure, it'll be fun, he said. David nodded. Only if we get to make fun of it afterwards. James sighed. Fine, since everyone is against me. Holly clapped excitedly. Yay! I'll text Rachel and Shannon and see if they want to come too. This will be fun. And that's it.
Awesome. Okay, feedback for Nick.
I don't even know where to start. It's so good. It's just great. Like this conversation that they have just it kills me how she's like, oh, we're gonna make great partners, and then you're just like mic drop with like, guess what? You guys are stuck together for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
This is it, can't you? It's like it's just
Yeah. And then the cheerleading uniform is all she needs to be considered attractive. And she's like, I can't wait to make my own chemistry with you, or just something that was so like cringy, but it was so perfect. And then just little things that they do. Like again, it's that just the little zings that they have. Like if it wasn't for you, James would be better dead. The Tracy and Stacy, the friends, I was laughing about that. I also think that you have the great thing that J.K. Rowling has where you've got the school and you've got the teachers and you've got the students, and you don't like there's very much that like respect for the teachers, like they're a different category they're like a different social group than the students. You don't have that like overflow, at least yet, that I think some novels do, and I think that it doesn't always work, and I think that what you have is awesome. Love how they're talking about the house and how can you use this to make people change. You literally killed me when you were like, you're wizards, why do you have guns?
Yeah, I know, I love that.
Let's go to the gun range. The Scooby-Doo reference, and the dance with the vampire. I mean,
Yeah.
Thank you for zinging Stephanie right there, because that was fun. That was hilarious. Only if we get to make fun of it after. Oh, high five to these
Yeah, I
people.
know, that was great.
It's great, Nick. It's really it's good.
Yeah, I especially love the mystery machine and the flying it, not driving it, and even though when they were discussing the dress code, I like how they still have real world problems in a fantasy school. That's cool too. And yeah, I just love her personality with the chemistry line, and I think you really got her down, like like nobody's ever said no to her, and
She's a favorite character of mine.
yeah, I can't wait
I
to
have fun
see her
with her.
again. Yeah, she's good. So,
You both said it all. I agree. And I love how the internal dialogue you give along with the dialogue. It really is right point on, and you do a really good job with that. And it's really fun to listen to.
yeah, you're moving the story along. The pacing's there. The elevator scene, like, is going to be crazy. It's like, nope, just directly, yeah. Like, that was great. The dress code, the pink sunglasses, and then she
Yeah.
drops them down.
yeah.
Your dialogue, sweet ride, and then sticking the smallest girl in the middle, like next to James. That was cool. Yeah, and it's like I love the illusion of magic in the house, and it's like it just rearranges space. I'm thinking like, I want that for my house.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, all of this is really super. Oh, the spiky blonde hair, the dialogue about, he could have been dead and you saved him, and all of that, the lunchtime. So yeah, the guns kill people fast. Like, all of this is great. So keep going, because we're into it, Nick. You got something going on there. Yeah, the van, I picked up on the Scooby-Doo reference. So yeah, wonderful.
And he burned her with his power, right? When he held her on, he like gave her a little.
Yeah, give her.
Was that?
It was zap to get her to let go.
Yeah, I like that. That was.
Yep. So yeah, really cool. Totally can picture it as a movie. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the action's right there, and the way you read it, the characters, the expressions, it's just all there. You would do a dynamite job reading that for audiobooks. Like,
I would love to do that.
yeah. So great job. Yep. I don't have anything else beyond that. So cool.
Is it next week yet so we can hear more?
Yeah, we will be waiting with bated breaths, right?
I feel bad because I see Nick like at work and I want to like be like, do you have any more that you can give me? But it's not appropriate, so.
I've got like 5 more chapters on my computer.
All right.
Oh, awesome.
That's wicked cool. I can't wait.
Oh, it's about to take a turn.
All right. Well, so there's a, dum. Yep. Sounds good. There's a teaser for us. Excellent. All right. So then we'll have Chrissy and Maria read next time. Let's just finish out our slides here. But thank you, Nick. Awesome. Yeah. So Chrissy and Lauren next time. Chrissy and, what did I say?
Maria.
Yeah. And then we'll just go in order. So Lauren, time permitting, but.
Sure.
Okay. So again, here's your hero's journey as a writer. And, if you look at this, you can see my slides, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you look at the map and think about where you are and where you came from, over here was like, okay, I'll do it, but how do I do it? Well, you're way over here in the extraordinary world, but you're learning these skills and solidifying these skills into the ordinary world. All of you are writing, you're editing, you're finalizing, so that's great. And then the next step is to move into the cycle of book publishing. So, woohoo, right? Yeah, and I don't see that any of you are stuck. You are all taking your inspired actions. So, congratulate yourself. So think about your inspired actions for the next week. And this is a framework I want you to think about. You've been called to be a writer. You have been called to create these stories out of your imagination. So it is part of your soul's purpose and your soul's journey. We're all in this together in that regard. And then you've got your heart's desire to have these stories come out, right? And to write them and then to publish them. We've talked a lot tonight about your imagination and envisioning it. So for your inspired action, it is writing it down. Go doing it, whether it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Pomodoro, whatever it takes. Okay. So with that said, how are you going to do it? What are you going to do? You get to be a hero, and let's set your goals for the next 7 days. So by Monday, July 13th, you will have accomplished what? So, Lauren, was that you raising your arm?
I can, yep, go. I'll keep the same first part, continue 2 times a week for 30 minutes. And then I'll work on like dissecting the grilling post.
Yep. Okay. And so, yeah.
Like breaking it up.
Yeah. So dissecting it is one thing. It is dissecting, but then it's expanding it. So each one becomes fuller.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. what I love about you is you have so much to offer and you've got so much there. So it's just a matter of, you're talking like months, half a year's worth of work in some cases in the last few weeks, right? So you will have no dearth of ideas. But yeah, expanding them.
Okay.
So it's not from lack, sweetheart. It is from fullness and richness. Okay. Who else? Who's next?
I'll go.
Thank you, Chris.
My goals are going to be the same. Continue on and finally finish that scene.
Okay, great. And so for you then, I want you to think about how it's going to feel to finish that scene. So instead of like, finally finish the scene, it's like, finally going to finish the scene. And really, use your imagination and envision the relief, the excitement that it's. So here's why. Because when we approach it from the, I just want to get it off the to-do list, that's a down pulling energy.
That's right. Yeah.
Versus that upward, which will motivate you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I wanted to say. Good. All right. So, Nick or Dawn? Nick?
Why don't we wait 3 more pages?
3 more pages. Okay. And is that chapter 4? But you finished chapter 4. So
yeah, it's not chapter 4. I've got to pull out my other document with the rest of my story and add it and figure out how many chapters I've got in total. Now, I want to say I'm on chapter 10 or 11 at this point now.
okay. And then it's going to be the right 3 pages plus or more. All right, cool. There you go. That's a good goal. And Dawn, last but not least.
I need to keep editing mine to get it down to the under 90,000 by far. So I just keep editing, and then that's it. And I'm kind of doing a little bit of writing on the side just to kind of keep the creative flow going. So I have like another little short story I'm working on, but I want to just work on tackling this first.
Yep. Love it. And then you said keep writing. Okay, small piece or short story?
Just kind of, just to keep the flow going, kind of I write like maybe 2 paragraphs a night, but.
Okay. Oh my God, can't type. Cool, those are good goals. All right, and we'll keep Maria's goal the way it is right now because we don't know what it would be, but excellent job. Okay, so now we've got I want to invite you to an opportunity. If you would like, I read you my little story last week, The Courage to Evolve. And that chapter is going to be in the book called The Great Pause, Wisdom and Blessings from COVID-19. So I'm inviting 5 people, so I'm inviting you, the group, to be part of the book launch team if you would like. And there is a Facebook group that you would join. So this is an active link. You would open the link and it goes to Facebook. And it's a private group, so there's details about the book. And what's going to happen is, I'm going to go back to my slides. You guys see Facebook? Did that work? Or are you still on the slides?
No, still on the
slides.
All right, that's one thing. You have to like stop share and see it in nuts. Don't worry about it. Just know that this is a live link on your computers. It will bring you to Facebook. Okay, so the benefit to you is you'll receive an early release of the whole book anthology, and this is a chance for you to be exposed to another community of writers, and you do not know what opportunities may come out of connecting and networking up with people. Okay. And so what we'd be asking, what your responsibility would be is to read the book so that you can write and share a review The official launch is July 27th through August 2nd. But by having the reviews in place, that's how you can get a book to be on the Amazon #1 bestseller list on launch day. So like it reaches #1 bestseller status on its launch. If you've never published on Amazon, this is also exposure for you for how that process works. You can then apply it to yourselves later. So you would be learning. You don't, obviously, clearly, you do not have to do anything with this. It's just an opportunity and an invitation. Okay. So here you can see Greenheart Living's mission. It's Elizabeth B. Hill is the editor. This is her initiative. And then that's her website. And, you know, these stories, we're sharing these stories. It is the collective experiences, but we're looking for the blessings from COVID and the wisdom. Okay? And hopefully by sharing their stories, it does help heal people with compassion and daring to dream of a different future. That's part of what my story, you know, what Elizabeth charged each writer with is what's your dream for the future. So you can reach out to me privately if you've got any interest in it. You know, if you don't, that's perfectly a-okay. Excuse me, don't worry about it at all. But I did want to offer it up because, again, you can learn things. You can see how a book launch goes. It's social media exposure for you. That's the other thing, because now your social proof of credibility goes up because you're a reviewer. So there are some benefits to it for not a huge amount of time effort. So, and with that, that's what I had for you tonight. So,
Yeah.
last closing, yep, thank you. Closing comments, feedback, last thoughts.
No. I can't believe there's only 2 classes left.
Oh,
Or how many? Yeah, 2. The bonus one and the next one. So
Well, tonight's class 3, we're going to cover the perfectionist.
mhm.
Is class 4, the saboteur, class
Okay.
5, and 1 bonus session.
Okay. All right. So 3 more.
Yep.
That's good because I don't want to think about it ending.
Well, and I will be putting together, you know, the next round, the next offer.
Oh, good.
Yep. And then to let you all know, Dairy Adult Education for the fall will not be held in person. It will be virtual. So AIMU's Your Self-Writing course will be, is a go. It will be conducted online
All right.
for September, and that is slated for Monday nights. So for the hero's journey to continue, I will choose a different night. This really is a coaching program for writers. If you join the Amuse Yourself Writing, you know the format's different. And I think you've all advanced enough into the hero's journey. So I don't know how well, you know, if you joined Amuse Yourself Writing, then you'd be meeting more people, which is okay. I do plan on opening up the hero's journey for writers more to the public for the next round. So if anybody has feedback on that, let me know.
Okay.
Nick said, okay. How do you feel about having, you know, public coming in?
Fine.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. All right. So I still need to shake out my details, my schedule, and then I'll put together a proposal. And you know what? I am going to take like a little time off for vacation type deal. So, you know, I don't know. Oh, so I guess that's a request too. If you guys have vacation and you want to let me know when that is, that may influence my scheduling as well.
Okay.
So, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. But otherwise, any last thoughts on tonight with procrastination?
Just
Halfway
thank you
through.
all. Thanks, everyone.
I know. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. Then we'll call it a wrap.
All right.
All right.
Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Take care. Have
Good
a
night.
Good writing.
Great job.
Bye.